a lot of people will go to the gym for years and never really experience any sort of muscle growth, or maybe they do experience some muscle growth, but it stalls out after maybe like 1 or 2 years. They plateau and they're stuck with the same body composition, and they keep trying to bulk and bulk and bulk, and they actually keep getting fatter instead of actually putting on muscle. And there's many reasons why this could be, but I think the two biggest reasons, actually there's a lot of big reasons, but I'm going to talk about more of on the training side of things. There's two reasons that this could be. Most people fall into two categories when they go to train. And the first group doesn't push themselves enough when they're training. So they go into the gym and they're doing like a good amount of sets per exercise. Maybe they're doing like 3-ish sets per exercise. And they go in there, but as soon as the exercise starts to feel uncomfortable, they're going through the reps, let's just say tricep pushdowns, they're going. And as soon as it feels a little bit uncomfortable, like their muscles get a little bit tired, they stop. And they don't push themselves enough, they don't push their muscles enough to stimulate growth. Our bodies do not want to put on muscle. That's just how it is. It's more metabolically taxing for us to put on muscle than it is to store fat. So our bodies just really don't want to do it. So we almost have to tell it like, hey, I'm going through all of this load. Like, your body doesn't know the difference between you lifting weights and you, like when you were a caveman or in the hunter-gatherer's time back then when you're trying to fight off like a saber-toothed tiger, maybe. But your body doesn't know the difference because it's going to adapt for you to survive. So if it thinks that it needs to put on muscle because you're going through all that load all that time, then you need to push yourself to that limit to force your body to put on muscle. Obviously, you need to get enough protein, enough sleep, etc. That's why I said there's a lot of different reasons. But yeah, so that's one end of the spectrum. And then the other end of the spectrum are the people who go in there and are doing 4 sets every single exercise, and every single set that they do is to failure or past failure. I've seen people literally go into the gym, do 4 sets of bench press. They'll do their 4 sets, literally go to failure or close to like 1 rep away from failure to where they're really struggling. They'll put the bar back, they'll rack it, they'll wait like 10 seconds, and they'll go and do another 3 reps. And they'll do that for every single set. That is just, you're just doing way too much at that point. That you're just not going to recover properly. Your it can't recover from that much volume. It's called junk volume. The more that you do past like a certain threshold, your body's just not going to be able to recover from it. It's going to allocate way more resources towards just like recovering nervous system wise. Your central nervous system needs to recover more than the amount of resources that your body's, like resources meaning calories, protein, carbs, etc., towards actual muscle growth, building up the muscle tissue that you just broke down through exercise. So, and the reason why I bring this up, the reason why this is important is because you have to find the middle ground. If you want to actually put on muscle in a sustainable way in the long term, if you're on, let me explain this graph to you. So there's a graph and a relationship between the amount of volume that you do in the gym and the amount of volume that you do in the gym and the amount of muscle that you put on. So we'll say that this is the amount of volume that you're doing in the gym, and this is the amount of muscle that you're gaining through the volume. Okay? So this is 0, we'll just say 0 sets per muscle group. And this is like, I don't know, 20 to 30 sets per muscle group every single week. Okay, so you'll start at 0. As soon as you start adding volume, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll be like a little bit of a flat curve, and then it'll start to gradually increase the rate of muscle gain. And then it'll start to flatten off a little bit, and you reach this peak, which is like the optimal amount of volume that you want to be doing for muscle growth. And then the more volume that you do, it starts to dip down, and actually goes negative. So if you're doing like an insane amount of volume, I'm talking like an insane amount of volume, maybe like 30 sets per exercise, per body weight every single week, you're training to failure or past failure for every one of those sets, then there's actually a chance where you actually might be losing muscle because your body just can't recover. It's allocating so much resources to you just recovering, as like your body recovering as a whole, that it can't even send resources to your muscles recovery, and you end up losing muscle. So yeah, the reason I bring this up is because if you're on this side of the spectrum where you're not doing enough volume, then it's going to take you so long to put on muscle in the long term, where like when you go into a bulk, you're going to be putting on way more fat than you are muscle. It's not even going to be worth it at that point. So you want to make sure you're at least doing a little bit more sets closer to failure, so that you can make your bulks worth it. And then on the other side, when you're doing way too much volume, then same sort of thing. Like you're going to be putting on way too much fat when you're trying to put on muscle, because your body's just not going to recover properly from you doing all of that volume. And what do I want to say? Anyway, you need to find what works for you. Obviously, you want to play around in that middle ground. I'm talking about probably like 10 to 20 sets. If you're a beginner, just start with 10. If you're an intermediate lifter, meaning your training age, probably around like, I don't know, 2 to 3 years of consistently lifting in the gym in the right way. So if you've never lifted in the right way before, so we'll just say like 10 to 15 sets of 10 to 15 sets that are close to failure per muscle group per week. So if you start there for each one of your muscle groups, then play around, like start on the short end, because you want to be very picky when you add volume to your lifts. You don't want to add volume too early. You don't want to just add volume for no reason. You want to pay attention to your recovery, number one, because if you're not growing in a specific group, if you're not getting stronger in a specific muscle group or an exercise, it's more than likely has to do with your recovery or an outside factor, because honestly, we all don't need that much volume to put on muscle. So for example, like what I don't do more than like 4 sets. Like 4 sets is the max that I'll go of bicep and tricep specific exercises. That's how much you need to be doing, because you're going to get enough bicep and tricep work through your chest exercises. So bench press, through different bench press variations. And for your biceps, you're going to get a lot of stimulus from your back exercises as well, through all the rows that you do, through different pull downs that you do, especially specific rows and pull downs that are more bicep focused. So don't just go in the gym and just add a ton of volume for no reason. You really do not need it. Just another quick tip. I know I'm getting into the scientific details a little bit, but there's a thing called effective reps too. So this is for if you're on this side of the spectrum where you're not doing a ton of volume, if you're not training very close to failure for some of your sets or exercises, then you're going to want to pay attention, because the effective reps are, so same sort of thing. I'll go over the graph again. This is muscle growth. This is the amount of reps that you're doing. We'll say that on this end is the amount of reps that like are farthest away from failure, and on this end is the amount of this is to failure. This is to failure right here. So the more reps that you do, obviously you'll start to go no muscle growth, no stimulus, no muscle growth, no stimulus, no muscle growth. Oh, I'm getting closer to failure. More stimulus, more muscle growth, more stimulus, more muscle growth, and you get to failure, which is obviously going to be the peak for muscle growth. But going to failure also causes a lot of fatigue as well. So you want to be training in a way where maybe like your first 1 to 2 sets are like 1 to 2 reps away from failure, and your last set is maybe to failure. Obviously, for your big compound lifts like bench press, like squat, don't go to failure don't go to failure every single time, especially if you don't have a spotter, because it's going to be very taxing on your nervous system, especially with those bigger compound lifts. Like it's going to failure for squat is a lot different than going to failure on your bicep curls, just because of how taxing it's going to be on your nervous system. So if you're on that side of the range, again, for that graph specifically too, you're missing out on a ton of potential gains. Like you're never crossing here you're never getting like that optimal muscle growth when going like, let's say 5 reps away from failure or less is going to get you the most muscle growth. So it's going to feel uncomfortable, obviously, to train very close to failure, but you just got to do it. That's what it takes to put on muscle and to continuously put on muscle. So hopefully this video helped you. If you are a person who is on either side of the spectrum, maybe this will shift your perspective of changing your workout plan, or just approaching the volume that you're doing in a different way. A quick upper body day I'll give you. For me, for example, so I go in to the gym, I'll do bench press, I'll do 2 sets of bench, like 2 to 3 reps away from failure, and then 1 set, 1 rep away from failure. So 3 sets of barbell bench press. And then after that, sometimes I'll superset it depending on the day. If I'm short on time, I'll do 3 sets of wide grip pull-ups. 2 of those sets are 1 to 2 reps away from failure, and the last set is to failure. After that, I'll do chest flies, and I'll do 2 sets of that. Only 2 sets, 1 set to 1 rep away from failure, and then the second set to failure. After that, I'll do some sort of row variation. Right now, I'm doing like a diverging high row to hit some of the rhomboids and traps a little bit more, and rear delts. So same thing there. 1 set, 1 rep away from failure. Next set to failure. And then after that, I'll do some shoulder work, depending on the day. Right now I'm doing like a pre-exhaust superset, so to really hit my shoulders during shoulder presses, because sometimes like to hit my lateral delts during my shoulder presses, sometimes your front delts will like to take over a lot during your shoulder presses, and your triceps as well. So to really hit my shoulders during my shoulder presses, I will do a set of lateral raises, cable lateral raises, and I will go 1 rep away from failure there, and then right after that, I'll do my shoulder presses, so that my delts, my middle delts, lateral delts, whatever, are already pretty exhausted when I do that. So they're going to be the limiting factor when I do my shoulder presses. So just going to give them more stimulus, because I really want my lateral delts to grow. So that's why I'm doing that. So I do 2 sets of each of that, 2 sets of those supersets. So in the next set, I'll go to failure for both the lateral raises and the shoulder presses. It's killer. It's great. But as you can see so far, like, not a lot of sets of each exercise. Then after that, I'll do some abs. Right now I'm doing cable crunches. I'll do 3 sets of that, 2 sets, 1 rep away from failure, 1 set to failure, and then some bi and tri work. And I'm doing 1 set for each right now. 1 set of cable curls and tricep push downs on the cable machine, and I superset those with my abs just to get some good time efficiency. And that only takes me like 45-50 minutes to get through that entire workout, including my warm-ups. And you want to be doing warm-up sets for each of your exercises as well, just so that you can get the feel of the exercise number 1 and feel the target muscle, so you're doing it properly, and also so you don't get hurt. But yeah, as you can see, not a ton of volume, and I feel like I look pretty good. If you don't know what I look like, you can check out my Instagram, robgentile_, ROBGENTILE_. Yeah, I put on a decent amount of muscle over the years through doing that. And yeah, so hope this video helped, and I will see you in the next one.